This is snow, this is October, and this is a Volvo XC40 with rear wheel drive. And what we're going to answer in today's video is, after this went to rear wheel drive from front wheel drive for the model year 2024, is rear wheel drive better or front wheel drive better when it comes to driving in the snow? The Taycan is covered in snow and still on summer tires, so not going to be driving that anytime soon. But this though, the model year 24 XC40 extended range with a rear wheel drive is equipped with winter tires. Continental Conti Viking 7 studless winter tires, front and rear. So before we actually jump into the test and find out what is better, rear wheel drive or front wheel drive in winter, we're going to do a quick charging test. As you guys can see, we are at 28% state of charge. Outside temperature is 1 degree Celsius. The car's been parked overnight, so we're going to drive to a charger about 5 to 10, 15 minutes away, an HPC charger, and we're going to precondition. So we're going to put the charger into the navigation system, and we're going to see if we get any decent charging speed with only driving a relatively short amount of time, not letting the car preheat for that long. For the model year 2024, the Volvo XC40 Recharge extended range has gone from front wheel drive to rear wheel drive. So the previous model had a single electric motor on the front axle. This model year 24 now has a single electric motor on the rear axle, instead going from front wheel drive to rear wheel drive. This rear electric motor is now more efficient with a silicon carbide inverter for improved efficiency, along with a bigger battery pack for the model year 24 should give this car a huge bump in range. But going from front wheel drive to rear wheel drive within a model cycle is a very curious choice, and I can only think of a few instances in history, in car history, that this has happened before. But I do think that this change is a very welcome choice when it comes to driving dynamics and handling in wet and dry conditions, because without changing anything else, this change to rear wheel drive is going to make the car more dynamic, more pleasing to drive in fast and sporty driving. But today's big question is, how will this actually affect driving in winter when it's slippery, snowy, or icy? Well, after the charging test, we're going to take this car a little bit out of the city, try to find some snowy roads, and test it there. Okay, so we've been driving 10 minutes now. The battery percentage has gone down from 27% state of charge down to 23% state of charge, which is quite a lot. But that is expected, because when driving to, the charger, putting the charger into the navigation system, letting the car preheat, it will actually use the battery energy to heat up the battery. So, higher consumption is to be expected. And let's take a look here. I'm going to show you guys, because we still have an icon next to the battery here, which shows that the battery is still cold. So it's going to be exciting now to see. We're going to connect to this charger, which is 125 kilowatts, I think. So we're not going to get more peak speed than that either way. So we've now moved over to this green charger here instead of the yellow one over there, because that wasn't working. And this is only 125 kilowatts, so each car is only going to get 62.5 kilowatts. But if we're going to get anything close to that, this is still pretty decent. So before I show you guys the charging speed here, I just want to give a huge thanks to today's video sponsor, Elton, which is the most awesome charging app if you live in Norway, Sweden, Finland, or Denmark, because one charging app, one charging interface, one map, one payment method will let you charge at almost all charge point operators in all of these countries. And which is also the charging app I used to start this Kopple charger right here. So if you want to support the channel, if you want the best charging app, if you live in any of the Nordic countries, go to the link in the description box down below and download the Elton charging app from there. So let's take a look at the actual charging speed we're getting. At 24% state of charge, 41.5 kilowatts. I mean, that is not too bad. We're going to jump into the car because it's so cold. Not too bad. With only preconditioning for about it was only 8 minutes, not even 10 minutes. I looked at the camera because I was filming. 8 minutes of preconditioning and getting 42 kilowatts from a battery which was really, really cold. So if I probably drove another 5 to 10 minutes, maybe we would have gotten a little bit more temperature in the battery and we would have been able to get even higher charging speed. But I mean, preconditioning, it just depends on how long you precondition the battery, how much time you give the car to actually let the battery come up to temperature. Connecting to this 62.5 kilowatt charger now, because we're only using one of the vacant slots, this is not too bad. I wouldn't, want to do anything else, and I know it was a bit full here, so I kind of knew that, okay, not preconditioning too much, not a lot, would be just fine. But if I was going to, I don't know, a 150 kilowatt or 200 kilowatt charger, I probably would have driven the car a little bit more, give the car a little bit more time to precondition the battery, so we could have gotten a little bit higher charging speed. I've driven a little bit out of the city to try to find as much snow as possible, and we're at the edge of where the main roads are. So we're on this, like kind of residential area, residential road that, that turns into this country road-ish. But yeah, I mean, it's 0 degrees Celsius outside, which is not the best conditions. There is gravel here on top of the snow, which should improve, and they have, there has been like a truck here to plow the snow. So I was hoping for a little bit worse conditions. But yeah, I mean, so far, like rear wheel drive, I drove this car a little bit yesterday, but it was dark. Maybe it would have been better to film then. But it wasn't bad. I mean, it's more fun with rear wheel drive than it is with front wheel drive. I mean, that's a given. I don't think anybody was ever doubting that. But you can't turn off the traction control or the ESC on this car. The Polestars have like this sport mode, but here it will let you do a little bit of slip, a little bit of rotation. So it's still fun and still safe. But I was hoping that we could, turn off all the aids, because then we could, go old school Volvo, like 140, Volvo 240s, these old Volvos that would let you just, go completely sideways. Probably the first car I ever did like a drift with was like a Volvo 240, like back in my high school days, like many years ago. I've also had several BMWs, so I've been a lot out in weather like this and just, having fun drifting in the snow. I mean, that's one of the advantages of living in a country with colder climates in the winter, is that when you have that snowfall, you have the opportunity with rear wheel drive. Okay, so we come to the end of the road. This is kind of a parking lot, but here there's a little bit of deeper snow. You can see that people have probably been here playing, but I was hoping for like a hill, but we can try to wander out here into where the snow is a little bit deeper and just come to complete stop. Because I've had issues with cars with the rear wheel drive in the past, electric cars, that just get stuck when it's almost completely flat. And this is the big question, because like people have been commenting in my videos that rear wheel drive is better than front wheel drive with electric cars. But I'm not sure. I am not completely convinced, because with these modern electric cars, you have pretty much a 50-50 weight distribution, right? So you may not have the same advantage as you would with an internal combustion car and front wheel drive, where you have all of the weight over the front wheels. But still, the nice thing about having front wheel drive versus rear wheel drive, when you don't have, that advantage of the weight, is you can still turn the driving wheels. If we get stuck here, it's either forwards or backwards, right? Forwards or backwards. That's the only direction. But at least with the front wheels, you can steer the wheel, so you can try to move side to side. So it just gives you more options, and that is the main reason why I think driving the front wheels, even in an electric car where you don't have that weight advantage, is still preferable. I don't want to get stuck here, but yeah, there's not a lot of hill, but this is a little bit of hill. And you know, the biggest advantage either way, if you have front wheel drive, rear wheel drive, or all wheel drive, is that ground clearance. So that's what's going to help us here, because that's usually what's going to get you stuck. But I mean, here's no problem at all. Like so far, I tested this car close to where I live yesterday, steep hill, no problem at all. When I drove out to this location, I was hoping for more challenging conditions, more snow, and less plowed roads. But this is what we got. I mean, it's October. Nobody was even expecting snow, and this much snow this early in the year. And me only having this car for a limited amount of time, I thought, well, it's better to make a video than not make a video now when I have this car. But I think the big takeaway, the thing I learned about this car is that rear-wheel drive or front-wheel drive, the XC40 is still very capable. I think the most important takeaway from this car and driving into snow is the high ground clearance, the fresh winter tires. I think that is super important. And also the smooth throttle calibration that lets you roll onto the throttle very, very softly and slowly, along with the one-pedal driving, just makes driving in slippery conditions simple. It's very capable in that sense. So guys, I still hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, drop me a thumbs up down below, and for more car content, as always, please subscribe. See you guys later, and goodbye.